Hi everybody, I'm Lights Camera Jackson. Today is Sunday, September 2, 2018. Welcome to a brand new episode of LCJ Live. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. We have a lot to get to today. A lot of shows take the holiday off. They give themselves a vacation. Not me. I never have taken a vacation in the 13 years I've been doing all this stuff. And that's fine because I love it. Coming up on LCJ Live, we're going to talk about my take on Jim Carrey's new Showtime series, Kidding. Trust me, you are going to want to hear what I have to say about it. Plus, the frontrunner, Hugh Jackman's new movie. Trailer came out and it has screened at Telluride. We'll talk about the first reactions and my take on the trailer. And I'll have some of my winners for the Summer Movie Awards. That is all coming up right here on LCJ Live. Please send in your questions and comments. I'll be answering them here live on the air. We'll do all of that. We're got to get to the box office here in just a moment. Again, if you're just joining us, happy Labor Day weekend. Hope you're having a nice one. And before you have your picnics, thanks, and spend a little time here next 20 minutes or so as we go through everything for LCJ Live. Let's get to the box office. Crazy Rich Asians, another crazy rich weekend, another $22.2 million for the 3-day, and an estimated $27 million for the 4-day Labor Day weekend for Crazy Rich Asians. That is fantastic. That brings the movie's total up to $115 million, which is just fantastic. Of course, Warner Brothers is already working on the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? Go see Crazy Rich Asians. Now, as I go through the rest of the box office here, just going to do the 3-day estimates. Some of the studios do have their 4-day estimates already, but it gets a little complicated, gets a little confusing, and numbers could definitely change over the next 2 days. So we're just going to stick to the 3-day estimates for the rest of these movies, just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In second, The Meg, the shark attack thriller with Jason Statham, still hanging on there, another $10.5 million. It's up to more than $120 million. Another success for Warner Brothers. Mission Impossible Fallout in third place. A little surprising. It's very strong. 6th weekend with another $7 million. It needs about $10 million more to become the highest grossing Mission Impossible installment, not adjusted for inflation. Will that happen? That is a big question for sure. Operation Finale is the new action thriller drama starring Oscar Isaac and Sir Ben Kingsley. That actually opened up on Wednesday, and it has a 5-day total of $7.7 million. Friday through Sunday's total, allowing it to be in 4th place with $6 million. I was disappointed with Operation Finale. It is a dry film. It is a dull film. It really doesn't have a lot of momentum and a lot of emotion behind it. You'd think the story about a group of Israeli agents who want to track down and capture the architect of the final solution, Hitler's deadliest lieutenant from World War II, you'd think that would be an inspiring story, a moving film, something with a lot of emotion behind it. But you don't get that here with Operation Finale. The script is very basic, very straightforward, uninspired, and even the performances, I wish Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley's characters went even deeper than they do in the film. So, fortunately, I do not recommend Operation Finale, but it is the biggest new release of the weekend by a lot, and we'll get to some more of those movies here in just a second. The webcam thriller Searching with John Cho and Deborah Messing opened last weekend in a handful of theaters and expanded nationwide this weekend to fifth place with $5.7 million. That's pretty good. I think Screen Gems wanted a little more, but they'll take a 5th place for that. Christopher Robin, Alpha, Happy Time Murders took a big fall down to 8th place. Black Klansman and Mile 22 round out your top 10. A lot of studios decided to re-release some movies, expand them into more theaters for the holiday weekend. Incredibles 2, that benefited them very well, jumping up to 11th place. And Incredibles 2 now crossed the $600 million mark domestically, becoming the only animated movie to make more than $600 million. So Pixar is jumping for joy yet again. They've broken so many animation records this summer, now the $600 million mark for them. In 12th place is another new release from the weekend, called Kin. It only managed $3 million, which is too bad because it's a decent movie. It's not a great film, but if you're into new age sci-fi filmmaking territory, along with a cast that includes Dennis Quaid, Carrey Coon, Jack Rayner, Zoe Kravitz, and James Franco in his first major movie since his sexual harassment scandal from earlier this year. It's a decent cast. They all give solid performances. The directions Kin goes in, I didn't fully appreciate. Not everything works, but I have to say that it's a decent movie, and maybe you should give it a chance and go see Kin. I wish it made more than $3 million. At Bob Hall says, Sorry to Bother You back in theaters. Yes, Sorry to Bother You, along with Jurassic World and a few other movies, expanded into more theaters this weekend. Let's see how Sorry to Bother You did. It did all right. It made another $300,000, only in about 500 theaters, so it made a little more money this weekend. Sorry to Bother You. To be honest, it's a film I liked when I saw it, but as the weeks have gone by and I've seen other movies that I've appreciated, I don't know, it's kind of gone less. I've had less of appreciation for Sorry to Bother You. Good movie, but it goes in some odd directions the rest of the way through. Another new movie that opened up did not do very well at all, The Little Stranger. This is Lenny Abramson, who was Oscar nominated in the director category for Room, the Brie Larson, Jacob Tremblay movie from a few years ago. This is his follow-up. It's a haunted house type thriller with Domhnall Gleeson. Did $417,000 in just about 500 theaters. That is pretty terrible. Focus Features decided to just put this out at the end of the summer, just get it out there, and that's exactly what they did, and pretty much nobody went to see it. So, too bad for The Little Stranger. A lot of people I was reading online didn't even know this movie had existed or came from Lenny Abramson until earlier this week, so that's never a good sign. I will say this, I just found out last night, Eli Roth is the director of The House with a Clock in Its Walls, the new Jack Black, Cate Blanchett movie. Now I'm even more intrigued by the film. It may not be great, but a PG-rated Eli Roth movie, that definitely has my attention. Bob Hall says, I wasn't a fan of Mile 22. Yeah, Mile 22 dropped to 10th place in its third weekend here at the box office. Not making a whole lot of money, just about $30 million, and I was not a fan of Mile 22 either. So again, Crazy Rich Asians, once again, your number one movie for this Labor Day weekend. Probably won't be the number one movie next weekend, but the film that will be is The Nun, which is another Warner Brothers movie. So Warner Brothers is just on a roll. The Nun is the latest in the Conjuring Annabelle horror movie series. It's the big prequel before all of those, and it's another Warner Brothers film. So we had The Meg number one for its first weekend. We've had Crazy Rich Asians number one for the last 3 weekends, and then The Nun. That's 5 weeks in a row, probably, with Warner Brothers at the top of the box office with 3 different movies. Wow. That is pretty rare when it comes to any movie season and any movie year. That is definitely pretty rare. All right. If you're just joining us here at LCJ Live, happy Labor Day weekend. We just went through the box office. Now we've got a lot of other things to talk about. It's the end of the summer. And in the features section in just a little bit at lights-camera-jackson.com, I'm going to have my Summer 2018 Movie Awards. All the categories, all the winners listed. But I do want to give you a few of them right now. I got my man Stan Lee right here as a Pez dispenser. These are available now. They're fantastic. He does win my Best Cameo category of the summer for Teen Titans Go to the Movies. That's right. If you haven't seen Teen Titans Go, but pretty much everybody has, Stan Lee makes a cameo in a DC movie. That's right, it happens, and it's hilarious. So, Stan Lee wins my Best Cameo Award. And now here are my picks for the best performances of the summer in the 4 major acting categories. I do have youth categories and ensemble categories and breakthrough performance categories as well. But here are the 4 main acting categories, my favorite performances of the summer. Best Supporting Actor goes to Josh Hamilton as the dad in 8th Grade. This is the indie Bo Burnham dramedy with Elsie Fisher, who's fantastic as the girl Kayla, and her dad, Josh Hamilton, is terrific. There's a wonderful campfire scene late in the movie. That was my choice as one of my favorite scenes of the summer. So he gets Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actress goes to Michelle Yeoh for Crazy Rich Asians as the stern mom who may have some heart on the inside. It's a great performance from her. She's very good in every scene that she's in, and she's in a lot of this movie even for a supporting role. So Michelle Yeoh for Crazy Rich Asians. Best Actor. I had a tough time. I liked Ethan Hawke in First Reformed, but the performance that really moved me, Ben Foster as the dad who now, lived in the woods with his daughter in Leave No Trace, now has to try to deal with real life, a house, neighbors, situations like that in Leave No Trace. Ben Foster is great. I met him a few years ago at the Critics' Choice Awards when he was Best Supporting Actor nominated for Hell or High Water. He's been in some other decent movies over the years, and he gives another great performance in Leave No Trace, which is still in some select theaters and will be on DVD very soon. Definitely seek this one out. And finally, Best Actress of the Summer. I gotta go with Glenn Close. She's excellent in The Wife. It's just her facial expressions, the way she looks at other characters, the way she thinks about some of the situations happening, she contemplates things, the way she cringes in some moments. Glenn Close, it's a showcase role for her, may earn her another trip to the Academy Awards. We'll have to see. We've got a long award season to go, but The Wife keeps expanding into more theaters over the next couple weekends, and while it's far from a perfect movie, Glenn Close is great, Jonathan Pryce is fantastic as well, and Glenn Close receives my Best Actress award for the summer. So again, full list of the Summer Movie Awards coming up in just a few minutes in the features section over at lights-camera-jackson.com. We've still got a lot to talk about here on LCJ Live. Thanks for being here at RX Arit. Thanks for joining us here on LCJ Live on this holiday weekend. We have so much more to talk about, including my take on Jim Carrey's new show, Kidding. You're going to want to hear what I have to say. But first, did you enjoy the new trailer for The Frontrunner starring Hugh Jackman? He plays Gary Hart, the controversial presidential candidate from about 30 years ago, and this is depicting what happened with his campaign. Jason Reitman is the director. Of course, he just did Tully with Charlize Theron, and Juno, Up in the Air, Thank You for Smoking, Labor Day, several other films. The cast, J.K. Simmons is in this too, Vera Farmiga, Alfred Molina, but you've got Hugh Jackman in this central role. I think the trailer is dynamite. I've always been interested in political campaign movies or TV shows. Game Change from HBO was so good a few years back. And so I'm really looking forward to this one. It opens in New York and LA, select theaters on November 7th, and will keep expanding. This is a big one for Hugh Jackman, because last year he had the final Wolverine movie, Logan. And everybody really liked Logan. What a send-off for this character that he'd been playing on screen for 17 years. Then at the end of the year came The Greatest Showman, a phenomenal moneymaker, and with all the music out there, breaking all kinds of music records, and it made so much money, and got him a Golden Globe Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical nomination. But this Frontrunner movie could take him into the Best Actor category for the Academy Awards and many of the other award shows this award season. This is a make or break for Hugh Jackman. Is he good enough now, post-Wolverine and post another musical, one of his comfort zones, to be an established, legitimate, dramatic actor? And that's the big question here. The Frontrunner did show at the Telluride Film Festival the other day. Reviews have been kind of mixed, but a lot of them have been praising Hugh Jackman's performance nonetheless. So, again, very curious about this one. Looking forward to it. The Frontrunner. Watch the trailer now. I've got it on the homepage at lights-camera-jackson.com. I think it's a dynamite 2.5 minutes with one of the best 7-second sound bites in recent years featuring Hugh Jackman. So, please go ahead and watch that. But we got to talk about Jim Carrey's new show, Kidding. I'm going to have my full review up in the blog section in just a little bit at lights-camera-jackson.com. But let me set the stage here for you for what Kidding is about. This is a new half-hour Showtime series starring Jim Carrey as essentially a Mr. Rogers knockoff satire character. He's this guy who's been on PBS for 30 years with his children's show with all these puppets and kids learning colors and all that. It's pretty much identical to Mr. Rogers, but now for the past 30 years. But something happened in this guy Jeff Pickles' life about a year ago, and it has traumatized him mentally, and he's trying to get through it emotionally and wants to talk about death on the air in order to get through what happened a year ago. His boss, played by Frank Langella, doesn't want that to happen, even though, of course, we all know that Mr. Rogers talked about death on the air 50 years ago. You've also got Judy Greer in the cast and Catherine Keener. It's supposed to be a comedy, I guess, but here's the thing. I didn't laugh once during the entire first episode that I watched the other day of Kidding. I didn't laugh once, and I didn't feel the deep emotion or the drama at all. To be honest, this first episode of Kidding is very close to a mess. Jim Carrey doesn't even get to go as deep into the character as I wanted him to. Maybe that'll happen over the course of the first 10 episodes of this season, but to me, during this first episode, I'm very disappointed by it because the writing is extremely flat. It's coincidental, it's predictable, the child actors on it are terrible, the situations aren't funny, nor are they moving. Overall, very disappointed by Kidding. I don't even think I'm going to give it a second try because there really isn't enough based on that first 30 minutes for me to go, yeah, because of Jim Carrey, because of the premise, maybe I'll give it another shot. To me, based on the execution of episode 1, I cannot do that. Michel Gondry, who I will say to this day, Be Kind Rewind is one of my favorite movies of recent years. Some of his other stuff I haven't been as big of a fan of. He directs this first episode and directs all the episodes of Kidding. And while the directing style didn't really distract me, the editing over the course of the half hour really does. The show starts out with Jeff Pickles, Jim Carrey's character, on Conan, an appearance on Conan. It goes on a little longer than it should, and even the editing during that is so rough and so abrupt that it doesn't make it easy on your mind or your eyes to watch that, especially if you're going to do so on a laptop or a phone. Because Kidding doesn't premiere until next Sunday at 10 p.m. on Showtime. Showtime has allowed people now to watch the first episode for free on Showtime.com and through the app and some other outlets. But, it doesn't make it easy on your eyes with all the abrupt editing or to understand everything that's going on. There's really only one decent twist, surprise, if you want to call it that, in the entire half hour, and it comes very late, but it's not a huge redeeming factor. So again, I did not like the first episode of Kidding. You can try it if you want, see if you can appreciate the out there quirkiness of it, but to me it just falls flat from start to finish. So I'm going to have my complete review in just a little bit in the blog section at lights-camera-jackson.com, including my grade for Jim Carrey's new Showtime dramedy, I guess, series called Kidding, which you can watch the first episode online, premieres next Sunday on Showtime. At Bob Hall says, will Crazy Rich Asians win the popular Oscar? Well, here's the thing. I heard Chadwick Boseman said the other day that they don't want Black Panther now to win the popular Oscar. They just want it to be a Best Picture nominee or go for that win as well. So maybe we'll see what happens. And yes, I did just trash Kidding. It is not a very good show at all. So we'll see what happens with that. But we got a long way to go. But award season has started with Venice, Telluride. Toronto Film Festival is coming next weekend. So much more is happening on the way with more film festivals throughout award season. I believe the Woodstock Film Festival is going to announce their lineup this coming week. The Film Columbia Festival, which I love going to every year, is going to announce their lineup very soon. So we are in full swing between now and February 24th, when the Academy Awards are, for all kinds of award season buzz. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. Again, Crazy Rich Asians, #1 at the box office yet again. And the Frontrunner trailer is on the homepage at lights-camera-jackson.com. And in just a few moments, in the features section, my 2018 Summer Movie Awards, and in the blog section, my complete review. I go a little more in depth into Jim Carrey's new show, Kidding, right at lights-camera-jackson.com. Hope you have a very nice holiday, everybody. We will see you back here next Sunday at noon Eastern. We'll see how The Nun and Jennifer Garner's new movie, Peppermint, do at the box office and preview another big weekend. And more film festival news and more in store for you as we do every Sunday here on LCJ Live. Enjoy your Labor Day, everybody. Make it a nice holiday and enjoy your week. Thanks so much for watching LCJ Live. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, by the way, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to my channel here, and you can watch the latest video here. And if I mix that up, it's the other way around. I'm like one of those people at the airport, right? So subscribe and watch my latest video if you're watching this on YouTube. Thanks for watching LCJ Live. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. We'll see you next Sunday at noon Eastern.